Welcome back to my Oddsbreaker. Frank Trigg, of course. Adam McDonough getting ready to fight. You're fighting Andrey Koreshkov coming up here in Bellator in Pechanga. Another one of these Russian invasion guys that maybe 8-9 months ago we really didn't think they had much to offer, and all of a sudden they seem to be at the top of the game over there in Bellator. I'm an old school wrestler, so when I started coming through, it was always Russia versus the USA. So all the former, remember, this is back still when it was USSR. It wasn't broken up yet. So every time I see a Russian fighter, I automatically go back to my old roots of it's America versus Russia. We got to win. But MMA is different. It's not nationalistic anymore like it used to be. Do you still get that sense that, hey, I'm American, I'm battling a foreign guy in America, I got to win because I'm American? Or do you keep it, or is it just another fight? If they put another American in front of you, it'd be the exact same thing for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's another fight. You know, I've had quite a few people talk, and you know, it's Rocky IV all over again, fighting a Russian.
You beat me to it. That's where I was going. You beat me to it.
I don't look too much into it. I don't really care. It's another opponent. It's another obstacle. It's another challenge. So it's all the same for me.
In the world rankings of all the 170 pounders in the world, when you beat Andrey, what will this do for your ranking? Do you think it's going to make you jump up quite a bit, or is it going to keep you about the same? I mean, is this a quality opponent for you? Like, how do you view this?
Yeah, I mean, I look at I think it'll help for sure. I mean, I think Koreshkov's one of the best welterweights in the world. You know, I look at Nate Coy. He had victories over Mike Pierce, Rick Story, Diego Lima, who was just an Ultimate Fighter finalist, Paul Bradley, 3 or 4-time UFC vet. You know, same with Juarez had victories over Whitaker and Jordan Smith, who are both Ultimate Fighters and in the UFC. So, I mean, I think this will just propel it that much further. It just all depends on what rankings you look at. I look at some of the more metric-based because otherwise, you know, some of the sports reporters, they, you know, if you don't have that UFC tag to you, they tend to not look that way. But I just don't really agree with it. You look at what the Strikeforce and WEC fighters have been able to go in and do. I think there's Bellator fighters that could go in and for sure do the same thing and make a splash. So. And
just for the folks at home, Adam, you're 11-0 right now, and that the last two you're talking about Jesse Juarez and Nathan Corey, your last two fights, who had big wins over big opponents before they fought you, and you beat them both pretty decisively. Juarez you beat in a 3-round decision, but it really wasn't that close the entire time. And of course, against Nathan Corey, you knocked him out 30 seconds in the second round. How do you think this fight with Andrey is going to go? Is it going to be another stand-up war? Do we think it's going to be more on the ground? Like, how do you see this fight breaking out?
I mean, wherever it goes, I'm comfortable with it. I think Andrey is probably working on some of the holes in his game, and everybody thinks, you know, I'm sure everybody thinks that, you know, someone's going to want to come out and wrestle him. But, you know, I've seen some guys fight him, and I look at his style very similar to Douglas Lima. You know, they're both killers. They're both capable of finishing a fight with one strike, but, you know, you can't fight them scared. And that's what I see a lot of people do. You know, Rick Hahn is a phenomenal athlete, but he came out and fought Lima, you know, tentative, and, you know, scaled the fence, circled, got kicked with a lot of leg kicks. It's kind of the same thing with Koreshkov. His last fight, you know, I remember the guy he fought, but the guy just backed up to the cage and let him kind of tee off on him, find his rhythm. So, you know, I just think we're going to mix it up a lot, and wherever it goes, it'll go.
Koreshkov's last fight was against Jason Baseman, and he ended up getting knocked out in the first round. And really, Baseman never got off. He never got started. He kind of was always in that filling out process. And it seems like, to me, with a lot of these fighters now, specifically the guys are the former Soviet republics, whether they're in the UFC or Bellator or fighting in Legacy or MFC, makes no difference. They don't have a filling out process. The fight starts. They're in the fight. There's not this 30 seconds, 45 seconds, let me feel out how this is going to go and what the attitude is. They just come out at you kind of full bore. Do you see the same thing when you watch tape on Andrey? Do you feel the same way that he just starts right away? There's no real feeling out process?
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's an aggressive he's an aggressive fighter to begin with, and he's an aggressive starter. And, you know, I'll get a good warm-up in. I'll be ready for him come the bell. And I'm just excited for it. He's like I said, he's a world-class talent, and I've got nothing but respect for him. But, you know, he's standing in my way of that title shot, and Lima's an absolute monster as well. I think arguably top 5 in the world without a doubt. but I want that shot at him and go from there.
Koreshkov comes in with he's 16-1, and he has 10 wins by KO, 3 by submission, 3 by decision. His one loss is to Ben Askren, who basically was getting touted as being a very boring fighter when Ben was still with Bellator. Was being a very boring fighter, was holding guys down and beating them up, and he ends up TKOing Koreshkov in the 4th round, and simply destroyed him pretty much in every position because he was aggressive from the very onset. Ben was. And that kind of set the pace where Andrey's kind of used to guys being fearful of him, and Ben wasn't fearful of him at all. Did you take anything from the Ben Askren fight with Koreshkov as to add into your game to kind of go, okay, this is the attitude or the mindset I have to have?
Yeah, I did a little bit, but at the same time, I again, you have people coming up and saying, oh, look what Askren did to him, and it's like, okay, well, Askren was also a multiple-time Division I All-American, D1 national champion, Olympic wrestler, probably one of the, if not the best wrestler in MMA today. So, I'm not naive to think I'm going to come out and do what Askren did. But as far as the putting on the pressure and whatnot, I think both of us are going to put on pressure. I think it's a fight the fans are going to want to see, and I'm really looking forward to it. And Andrey hits hard, but so do I, so, and I think I've proven that over time. I've proven that on the regional circuit. I've proven that against tough guys on this level. And I know I'm still relatively, I'm probably the underdog and maybe the more unknown of the two, but don't matter. Everybody will get to know me when I keep finishing fights. So
you're an old school fan of MMA, not just a fighter, but you're also a fan of the sport as well, correct?
Yeah, I've paid attention to it for quite some time.
Well, you're the main event, obviously. That's a huge. The last fight of the night is a huge honor to be in the main event, especially against a guy like Koreshkov, where it's going to be a deal where the fans are going to watch it. Everyone's going to be paying attention to this fight because now everyone's ramped up for this. But 2 fights before you, it's Phil Baroni and Karo Parisian, who both are old school guys. They're old school fighters that are also on the card. They've been fighting as long as I did, and longer now since I retired. Of that fight, do you think that Phil still has the game at 170 and Parisian still has the game at 170 to match up with the new guys like you do? I mean, or is this going to be really going to end up being just another a fight more for the fans, other than getting into the rankings, getting themselves back into a title hunt?
I haven't really watched them much, to be honest with you. I fought last time I was in California. I fought on the same card as Parisian. I'd gladly fight either one of them. Both are pioneers of the sport, and I was supposed to fight Karo back in Phoenix, my first Bellator fight, and we were welcoming that fight gladly. So, as far as what their skill sets are now as opposed to what they were, tough to say. I don't train with them. I haven't fought them. So can they hang with us? I don't know. I guess we'll see who wins and who moves on, and to be determined. But let's do it.
Very humbly and politically correct put. It is the reason why I got out of the game is because the game has passed me by. I have the skill set, I have the mindset, I have the physical attributes to be able to do it, but my timing is off by 100th of a second. My speed is off by 100th of a second, and that 100th of a second is the difference between blocking the punch and getting knocked unconscious. And so it's a big difference, in the skill set game. Now, Kyle, of course, is really young. He started fighting at 16. So everyone thinks he's really old, but he's only 30. He's got a lot of years left in the fight game. Just had some bad habits. Just had some bad drug habits and had some bad family problems that he tried to take care of. It seems like with you, Adam, you don't have any bad habits, at least publicly. Like, we don't hear of anything, any problems at all. Like there's never been an issue with you. And it seems like that new generation, you're that new generation of guy that is a traditional old school athlete in a new game. How did you keep away from any of the bad stuff that everybody else got into? The drinking and drugs and the women and running around. Is it just being from Minnesota and small town and having that small town mindset, or is it just the drive and determination that your parents just kept nailing into you when you were growing up that you're using now?
My thing, honestly, Frank, I just live my life. It's just who I am. I'm married, and my beautiful wife is, my partner in crime and a good part of the team as well. But I also, I bring the same work ethic to every component of my life, and I feel like, this exposure has been a good opportunity for me to be a role model on a positive scene, you know, because a lot of people these days just feel like everything should be handed to them. And my motto is kind of earn, not given. You know, everything that I've ever done, I've earned. You know, you can see the trees in my background. I live out in the woods, you know, on a lake. You know, so I just kind of do my thing. And, you know, I've got great family and friends and coworkers and training partners and trainers. And, you know, I just got a lot of good people in my life that surrounds me. And I'm a firm believer of, you know, you're going to be a byproduct of who you surround yourself with. So
I can't even tell you how many times I walk into Extreme Couture's here in Las Vegas or down in my gym in LA at Strong Sports, where a guy comes and goes, hey man, I'm gonna be in the UFC in 6 months. I'm gonna be a UFC champ in a year. And I go, what have you done? Nothing. Well, where have you been training? I'm starting right now. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. You're like, you are delusional. Like, you think this is going to happen for you, but not putting work and time in. And it's that elitist society of children we're kind of raising, like you just said, where everyone thinks it's going to be given to them. Then I got to earn it. Like you said, you have to earn it, not given. Do you have that problem too in your gym, where you get some guys that walk in and they really believe that they're going to be somebody in 6 months or a year, and you've been sitting here for years trying to make this happen, and you're like, look, man, I'm telling you, it's a 10-year track to be maybe mediocre. To be mediocre in 10 years. That's basically what you're fighting for. If you're one of the elites like you are, you get to be at the top end of the game. But the reality of it is, in 10 years, the majority of people, majority of fighters, they're mediocre at best.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And honestly, you know, if they come in with a humble attitude, we don't really care. You know, we'll gladly, you know, give them the time of day just like anybody else, you know, and give them that mutual respect. But we do have a lot of people, you know, come in with that type of mindset, saying they're going to be, you know, next level, Bellator, UFC, et cetera, in 6 months. And, you know, and then we kind of, you know, we just kind of train with them like we would one of the other elites, and you don't really see them coming back because, you know as well as I know, you can't afford bad apples in the gym and people with attitudes and egos. And, you know, we leave the ego at the door. You know, we're there to get better, and we've got I've got Tony Martin, UFC, you know, competitor. I've got Brock Larson, who's our head trainer. We've got national champion kickboxers. We've got, you know, national champion wrestlers. We've got a lot of talent in our gym, and then we've got a whole plethora of jiu-jitsu practitioners that are, you know, practicing the art of jiu-jitsu, and so we want to protect that image for sure.
You know, one of the things that happened at Couture's for a while, we lost a lot of guys. A couple of the gyms opened up, and the Couture's lost a lot of folks. Randy retired. So it became very difficult in Vegas to keep guys in Couture's. Well, then we changed gym managers and brought in this guy, Eric Nitzik, and he changed the dynamic of the front desk, the dynamic of the coaching staff, brought in different coaches, brought in Robert Fowlis, promoted Dennis Davis, and now all of a sudden, Couture's at least has this whole new mindset of how things are being done, and it's flourishing again. But it started with Eric, and then has kind of gone through that spacing. Do you have that same kind of set over there at Get Some Athletic, where you walk in and it is the top guy, the front door guy, the main guy that kind of runs the office space, has kind of set that spacing up so you don't have to worry about it and have to worry about too many of the bad apples kind of sneaking through the front door?
We've got a similar setup, and we're actually looking to expand here real soon, you know, and then we travel a lot too. I mean, we get together with a lot of the top talent in Minnesota and in the Midwest in general. So we've got guys that come up to our gym quite a bit, and honestly, I feel like we've got all the resources in the world. Some of our guys, we're going down to ATT with, you know, Master Laborio, and he is one of the best in the game. I've met him, one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. And, you know, if I was fighting full time, I would love to go down there myself as well. But we've got everything we need for sure right where we're at. So I'm very fortunate to have all those resources around.
Yeah, it's I love the ATT. It's a great spot. Of course, Tyron Woodley is down at training while I was training camps, and Robert Lawler's down there right now. Matt Hughes was just seen down at ATT getting ready to go. And there does seem to be a lot of Midwestern guys that are coming from home, and they spend 6 weeks down there training and then bounce themselves back up again. How come you haven't followed into that game? And how come you stay home during your training camps?
Honestly, it's because I've got a great career at C.H. Robinson Worldwide, you know, and from a sustainability standpoint, you know, I've got a lot of momentum going on with where I'm at. And, you know, that's why I had that 17 or 19-month layoff there for a while. I was really investing time in my career, and it's been paying dividends. And, you know, I just not really – I feel like I can still compete with the resources I have around me, and I'm able to still keep my my full-time career going. That's going to be my long-term sustainable. So, there really is no plan B. It's just kind of 2 full-time jobs is what I do. And that's why I mentioned my wife being such an integral part of what we do, because she takes care of the house and all the other, ancillary things during the training camp. So.
Yeah, it is tough, having a full-time job and then trying to train full-time, then come home, do laundry, go shopping, do cooking, like get it all set together and stay on your diet, stay on your weight program, and handle kids and everything else you got going on. So yeah, it's important to have that partner. That is your partner in crime. That does keep you balanced and even. So it's actually, if you've noticed, all the better fighters, whether they're winning or losing, it doesn't make a difference. But the guys that are the better fighters as a whole, they always have a great partner behind them, no matter who it is. And it's kind of refreshing to see, because the game has changed. My game was, we're all single, we're all running, we're all just trying to do whatever we could do and try to survive it. And now it's become a legitimate, severe, full-time gig, and you're one of the lucky ones that has 2 full-time gigs and both pay well.
Right. Well, and even aside from a monetary standpoint, obviously, if it didn't make sense, I would be competing full-time, right? But that's not the only. I mean, the determining factor is I've got a career that I'm passionate about, and then to be able to put this on top of it and have a wife that tolerates it, because she's been with me since day one. So, it's what a blessing, and I do feel blessed every single day, again, to have all the people and resources from friends, family, coworkers, beautiful wife. Looking to hopefully add a little gunna here pretty soon. So, but that's going to be all the more motivation for me to take it out there and show my talents to the world.
Adam, thanks. I kept you on here too long. I appreciate you coming on here on a Saturday, especially. It's a part of your rest day, so I appreciate it. Good luck with that, Andrey. And I'm trying to get up there. It's not possible. I'll be in town for that one, but I think I will be. And I'll definitely be texting you if I am in town after weigh-ins, after you get your meal in after weigh-ins.
Yeah, sure. Let's meet up and be good to see you.
All right, beautiful. Take care, Adam. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
Take care, bud.